And at long last, it begins. It is postseason on Monday nights. Round 12 of the playoffs begins to kick off right here, right now in Fontana, California. 3 seasons this racetrack has played host to some of the most exciting races in High Tide Racing League history. It is looking to be no different this afternoon than when we duke it out for the first race in the playoffs. My name is Mullet alongside Derek Watson. Welcome to Auto Club Speedway and to beautiful Fontana, California. Derek, we know it, we love it, we're sad that it's gone, but we still have it in the virtual world, and boy, is this track ever a special one to ever visit.
Yeah, so here we are on Inauguration Day, and here it is, the inaugural round of the High Tide Racing League playoffs at the Auto Club Speedway. As you said, not technically a real track anymore. Who knows what becomes of it? There's still the plans maybe for the short track, but we keep not really hearing much about it. But we're going to race in the 2-mile layout. Big, wide track here, lots of space around it. 69 degrees Fahrenheit here at the track, and a beautiful track it really is. And it's a day race, and we're going to talk about that. That caught me off guard. Typically, the racing here at night is fantastic. Well, let's take a look at the points here, Nolan. Remember, all the drivers in orange locked in. That's your playoff drivers. Those are the drivers who have made the top 12 positions, and you can see the big gap in points that helps distinguish them. But I think the story of the night, Nolan, is now there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. The difference between, Dalton Kilroe at the top in P1 and Ty Marasco in P12 is 10 points. So really one bad race here in these playoffs, and you're probably on the unlucky side of not advancing or not winning this championship.
Oh, for sure. You cannot afford a single mistake. And one driver already started the back foot, Ty Marasco. He's going to be doing a start and park this afternoon. One of the drivers that's at the very bottom of the list and already into 3 spots that are getting bumped out. Arguably, one of the drivers that could afford the least to miss a race. He's going to be taking the start and park to at least get last place points. But that almost puts him in a must-win scenario points-wise if he wants to make the round of 8.
Yeah, Ty, like a couple others, will miss this race tonight. They're busy watching the national championship game between Ohio State and Notre Dame, and I have faith in them as well. I'm an Ohio State fan at heart. I have the game on a third monitor, so if I yell touchdown, you'll know why. But but no, you know what? Listen, everyone is a fan, and everyone has priorities, and it's hard to comment on those. It's hard for me to think that I can say, hey, Ty Marasco missed this race. Right, you pointed out he's right at the bottom of the list, and remember, this is not a win and in scenario. This is not the typical NASCAR format, so it's not like he can come in next week at the Glen and win and move on. He has to have 2 great races or hope that every person in orange has a not so great race.
There's so many nuances to figure out through the course of this race. The good news is we're going to have a lot of time to talk about all of these nuances because, well, like we mentioned, it's Auto Club Speedway. It plays host to one of the longest races that the High Tide Racing League fields. 250 miles around this 2-mile facility is going to put us into some great racing action this afternoon. Well, Derek, there is not too much time left before this race gets itself fully underway, so we'll take a step back. We'll tune in to our opening ceremonies, and when we return, it is, of course, going to be the starting grid on Green Flag TV. So qualifying is, and warm-up is getting set to draw to a close. So with that, it's time to figure out how everything's going to line on up. 125 laps, 250 miles around this absolutely fantastic circuit in Fontana, California. And, well, your starting grid lines up a little something like this. We kick it off with one Curtis Yancey has competed in the Season 1 Auto Club race here at this racetrack. He starts on pole by 200th of a second over Michael Thorpe Jr. Sam Baumgartner will start his race from third with Dalton Kilroe back at the number 4 spot. Jaden Hopp and Michael Keithley are back on row number 3. Hopp with a great showing last week at Kansas, taking his maiden win. Looking for more this afternoon. Scott Shire and Dustin Ping bring it up on row 4 with Tanner Marr and Bob Berry on row 5.
Moving back into P11, you'll find Larry Bell next to Ethan Sikorsky, one of the 2 Toyotas in this race. Jason Greenwell and Kyle Wellman will be 13th and 14th. Craig Martin and Brian Dees, row 8, back at 15th and 16th. Row 9, Ty Marasco, who's probably going to do that start and park with Sean Williams to his outside in P18. And then David Lakey and Connor Gibson round out row number 10.
So that is it then. All drivers are just about gridded on up and ready to rumble here. We're going to be in for a solid night here this afternoon. You see the cars rolling out from pit row now. Not going to be our typical getting straight to it and going to race in action. Kyle Wellman, by the way, started his race from pit road. They're doing something special tonight. It's going to be a 3-wide salute. Michael Thorpe Jr. makes his way to the front. And, well, this is, of course, in honor of Martin Luther King Day, which happens to fall this year on Inauguration Day.
Yeah, it always happens. And this Monday every year in January, of course, Martin Luther King, born January 15th, 1929, was an American Baptist minister. He's an activist and a political philosopher. He was one of the most prominent leaders of the civil rights movement from 1955 until his unfortunate assassination in 1968. Dr. King advanced civil rights for the people of color in the United States through the use of nonviolent resistance and non-violent civil disobedience to have protests, marches, and many moments. People, of course, probably remember the sit-ins, the bus boycott, and many moments from history that we've learned about in school that Dr. King was prominent in assisting with. And those effects and those actions are still felt in different ripples and waves today, Nolan, through the different civil rights movements, the things we face today. Think how different it was in the 50s and 60s compared to today. Not maybe. There is lots of work still to be done on the civil rights movement today, but a lot of work was done by Dr. King to help advance those rights.
A lot of work done indeed, and work that was not for nothing either. There have been some fantastic strides being made over the last little while, and hopefully it is work that is continuing to be recognized and work that is continuing to have impact on people's lives all across the world, especially so in America, though. And you see Michael Thorpe Jr., of course, a person of color himself, leading the way right now. I think it's fitting to have Thorpe out at the head of this field. He's, of course, been a longtime member of this league. He's been a big competitor. He means a lot to this league, and I know for a fact this means a lot to him to be out in front right now as well.
Yeah, you know what? And this is one of those amazing things that we get to do as sim racers, Nolan. I think a lot of gamers or esports gamers don't get that moment. We get to use our race cars, our liveries, and moments like this, pace laps, to really show off support for our causes, to make statements, to honor those either family, friends, heroes, mentors, or what have you, who mean something in our lives. And it's a great moment all in of itself here. And in fact, let's do this if you don't mind. You said Michael Thorpe was obviously leading this group around. You can see it there on your screen. I'm just curious. Michael Thorpe, obviously you're leading this parade lap around in honor of Dr. King this evening. We talked about Dr. King in the broadcast, but I want to give you a chance to talk about what this means to you.
Hey, as the only black driver in the league for now, this is great. I'm glad to be a part of it, and got to have a bunch of good guys behind my back to support today, the holiday, and for MLK.
So right now you get to use this moment and have this moment here, and of course your teammates, your league mates were behind you 100% in this moment, so that must feel good to be able to have a moment like this.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm happy to have everybody just participate in all this. It means a lot.
All right, Michael. Well, listen, I know we're going to break apart the 3 wide and get you guys ready to go. So we'll give you a moment to kind of catch your breath and get settled, and maybe we'll talk to you later.
Yep. See you guys later.
All right, that's Michael Thorpe Jr. And as I said, Nolan, he really just gets a chance here to show off here and to be in that moment. And I always wonder as a driver when you get to do those things, man, that's emotional. That's heartwarming. It's thoughtful. But how do you get yourself back into to race mentality so quick after that?
You just got to remember what's on the line. You got to remember what is at stake. I mean, Thorpe is gunning for a championship. He was second in the regular series season, leaving that huge points gap that he had, though, back to third on down. It's been wiped away. He has got to lock in. I think he knows that. He knows how to get the job done for racing action this afternoon, and you know for a fact he is going to, for sure, be big in trying to get that race win this afternoon to kick the playoffs off strong.
By the way, just a real note here, I think we missed him in the broadcast screen, but Derek Paulson 21st, Michael Ashmore 22nd, both on the grid as well. So it's a 22-car field. Get ready to take the green flag.
Coming off of turn number 4, iRacing pace car is off, and once again, it's time to get the party started. We'll work our way into the Geico restart zone. It's go, go, go for playoff season in the High Tide Racing League. Off of the final corner, side by side for the race lead between Thorpe and Curtis Yancey as we take to the start-finish line for the first time this afternoon. Yancey leads lap 1 to the green. Thorpe tucks in line for second. Right now, his closest playoff competitor, Dalton Kilroe, blocked by Hopp and Baumgarten.
Look at this already. You see, look at how wide the grooves are here. Look how many cars are 2, 3, 4 wide at that moment, but no one really felt it probably with how wide this track is, Nolan. This is a very unique track that, as we said, doesn't exist anymore, but it's got sort of the multi-groove racing of a Michigan combined with the tire-eating ability of an Atlanta is the best way to describe this track.
I think that is honestly about spot on with Auto Club Speedway. This track chews up tires for breakfast, and tire strategy is going to be king to taking the win here this afternoon. And it's something that we have seen many of these races come down to. I mean, look at what happened last season when that race went into overtime. And, well, those that had stayed out on old tires trying to gamble fell to the back. And it ended up being a drag race between Lacey and Hillbranch to the line. Jaden Hopp did catch the wall a little bit there off of turn number 2. The Kansas winner trying to dive it down to turn number 3. Curtis Yancey right now on defense up top. Yancey was a DNF in his first race here when they were, in the second race in the league. It was over at the Auto Club Speedway in season number 1. Now he leads the way as we hit lap number 4.
Man, look at how much different his line is in every way possible. Watch him here. Going to ride the high lane basically through the corner, maybe middle here, through 1 and 2. He gets down to the bottom. He's going to try to get back out. We're watching on board here from Michael Thorpe, but we're going to watch up ahead to Yancey. Now, last time by, Yancey basically rode the wall in 3 and 4. Let's see if he does it again here. Yeah, look at that. Look how different. This is the best example. Thorpe's to the bottom. Yancey's to the top, but now watch this. Now Yancey's going to come down out of 4. Is maybe last time by, and this time gets down there and clips the apron. And you can see how much different it is in Thorpe. Thorpe is like almost like a calming, gentle, stable ride, and Yancey's using the whole track.
What Yancey is trying to do is break that draft, preventing Thorpe from getting a good run on him, and credit to him, it's working for now. Thorpe has been dropping a little further back since the race start, a couple cars into the outside wall that time by. One driver of interest right now, Ty Marasco. He said it was going to be pitting at the end of lap number 1 here, going for the start and park. Doesn't seem like it, though. He's trying to see what he can get.
What is, I'll tell you, not spoiler here, it is currently halftime in the national title game. They just went to halftime right now. It's a 21-7 Ohio State lead. So I think maybe Ty's going to stick out at halftime. There's no point. If you don't want to care about the commercials or the halftime talk, then why not stick it out? See if maybe you can get a couple spots here from people maybe wrecking it out or what have you. What I find most interesting, by the way, and I would love to talk to Ty about this, how are you from Macomb, Michigan, and you're an Ohio State fan? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm an Ohio State fan, but he's from Michigan, and that feels like some people might label him as a traitor back home. I would love to talk to Ty about that, because that must be an interesting life. That'd be like being like a, I don't have a good NASCAR analogy for this, actually.
Well, we have a good analogy to talk to about next week. It could be a Truex fan rooting for Logano.
I was trying to think, like, where someone's from. Be like, like a DEI employee rooting for a Hendrick car. And I was like, how does that work out? I was trying to put it together in my head quickly, but not yet. But look at this. The gap is closing a little bit on to Curtis Yancey. Dustin Ping, by the way, has moved up to P2. He's got around Michael Thorpe here. And this Columbus, Indiana native, not Columbus, Ohio, but Columbus, Indiana native wants to have a big showing here. Dustin really had kind of a, I mean this respectfully, Nolan, when I say a quiet regular season. Nothing horrible happened to him. Nothing, not dominant week by week, but really silently pointed his way into the playoffs.
Crossover attempt off of turn 4 for Yancey. He'll diamond back to the bottom and immediately take the lead back from Dustin Ping. And this is kind of what we saw from Dustin Ping last season as well, right? He had a very quiet season, not terrible, but not really stellar. Nobody was really pinging him for being a title contender. He kind of lucked his way into the round of 4 when Nick Nickerson had to miss a race in the middle of the round of 8. That took him out of contention, a driver that had, 4 or 5 more wins of the season than Dustin Ping did. And same thing, Ping was a lap down to the final race with about 30 laps to go. Lucky caution comes out. He's the only one that could come down to pit and still stay on the lead lap. Everyone else had to stay out. Drove away with the freshest tires in the field. Won the race by about 3 seconds. Yeah, that's how quickly things can change.
Yeah, speaking of changing, look at this. Ping is trying to make a change here, trying to change up some lines and really trying to get around Yancey. And I think he's going to clear him this time by with a little bit of draft help from behind, I think, here. But now the draft moves up top, and Ping might just have to drag race it down here into 3 and 4.
Sam Bumgarner getting in the mix as well. Got a 4-way fight for the lead right now. Ping down to the bottom side. And now Curtis Yancey can't use his tactics of diamonding off the corner because he's 3 wide with Thorpe and Bumgarner down low. And now Ping will try to follow his strategy. Ducks down, tries to control the draft from all 3 lanes. He wants to keep these guys 3 abreast coming down to turn 1.
I'll tell you what, and if you're Dustin Ping, you've got to be gritting ear to ear about that 3 wide behind you, because it briefly held up Michael Thorpe, right? And with both these guys being playoff drivers, anything you can do to hold off another playoff driver, even for a lap or 2, will make you happy to say, hey, I did that. Dustin Ping has led a lap here at Auto Club Speedway. This is one of those tracks that, it's not a special event in our racing calendar, Nolan. And I don't know if it's because we all have fond memories or we want this track to exist or what it is, but everyone feels great about this track. We all remember it fondly, and I don't know if it was an active track, if we would all feel that way. Maybe it's just one of those, like, we didn't know what we had till it was gone kind of moments, but everyone wants to win here.
Say what you want, I've always loved this place. I mean, this track provides good racing day in, day out. No problems whatsoever with this place on my book. Oh, contact for the lead there between Thorpe and Ping, and now Yancey stuffs it in on the high side right by the wall. Critically as well, that sun is now dipped below the front stretch grandstand, so it is going to end up being a sunset race like the 2 seasons preceding it. But a close moment there, and now that they don't have that visibility problem, they're getting a bit bolder here off of turn 4.
So what Thorpe is just really all up on it, just trying to use every ounce of track possible, and that's going to lead to some, incidental contact. Hopefully, it doesn't lead to anything more than just. Now the Bumgarner slides up. He is hit. He's hitting.
Save it.
He is safe.
Holy cow! Oh, maybe not yet. Still catching it. Still catching it. Catch it. Catch it. Good save there. That's got to be the save of the month right there.
That's a great move by Curtis Yancey. Now finds himself 3 wide here. Now he's got himself safe. But, Bumgarner just got a little tight and drove up that track. And my goodness. Well, I'll tell you what. There is some words between Yancey and Bumgarner that I cannot repeat in this stream. But let's just say there's some unhappy feelings.
I don't blame him. He kind of got run over into turn 1 there. But how about that? Full lock. And he manages to wrangle that car underneath him.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's a lot of wheel work right there, a lot of experience to make that happen. He had every right just to lose that car around, and had he done that, he would probably went down the track, and calamity may have ensued. Wow, 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 wow. That's incredible. Well, here's Jaden Hopp. You see in the middle of your screen, and there he's just going to get right under this. He gets a front row seat to Curtis Yancey spinning him. That's probably like a 30-degree slide right there, and it keeps sliding all the way out of that corner.
That was a wild save. I thought for sure that the car was going to be facing the wrong way and backwards into the wall. You don't just pull a save like that off. That really tells to the type of driving that Yancey is capable of. And who knows? We didn't see a lot of from him at Martinsville the last race he was out. We might see more from him this afternoon after that. But, yeah, words like you mentioned between Baumgarten and Yancey, I find it hard to kind of blame Yancey for being upset. Baumgarten did wash up the track. It kind of just took him out in the corner. He was lucky to save it. Credit to Baumgarten, did get out of the gas and allow him the chance to recover it at least.
Yeah, and you know, in this right now, this will prove the kind of driver that Curtis Yancey is. What happens now? This moment's happened. It's rattled your cage. It's annoyed you. You're upset. You're frustrated. You're flustered. So you have two options. You take a breath. You breathe. You gather the car and say, okay, now I got to get back up there. Or you let that fester, you let that get in your head, you let that bother you, and more than likely, this race will only get worse from here.
Bit of 3 wide deeper in the field while they're still going double file up at the front. We are racking up the lead changes here this afternoon. The most lead changes this track has seen in this league was 23 lead changes among 13 cars back in season number 1. And we're exchanging the lead back and forth just about every single lap right now. So these guys are looking to best that record from season 1 all the way back in 2022.
So what I'm curious about with this track, right, everyone's kind of bunched together in sort of a pseudo draft. Yeah, everyone's kind of using that momentum. Momentum may be the better word here. We're on lap 16. But what I wonder here, Nolan, when we get to lap 22, maybe 23, 24, and the tires are worn off, I wonder what this race looks like, right? If we stay green and all goes well, when some drivers have used up their equipment, I'm guessing this race will spread out, and some of the passes, some of the side-by-sides will become a little less frequent. Oh, look at Thorpe. Thorpe just whipping a big out of the corner. My goodness.
He's pushing. He's trying to get himself into these lines quickly. He does not want to afford... Well, he knows he can't afford being dropped to the tail end like this. He knows he's got to find a hole wherever he can to tuck in line. He can't... he's got to start strong. We talked about it in the pre-race, right? You cannot afford to have a bad start. And he's going to look back to the inside, immediately try to take that lead back from Ping. Not a lot of tire saving going on here. One critical thing, Jaden Hopp, when we got into turn 1 on that replay, we were on board with him. He did clutch and coast into turn number 1 real early on.
Yeah, I mean, fuel could be a story here. We were told roughly 30 laps per run, so you're talking about 5 laps off. We'll see what's happening here. But, oh, Michael Thorpe, problems.
Oh,
Michael
no.
Thorpe said monitor black. He has no screen. He's well off track. They still get down off the track here. Let's just hope he doesn't come back up.
No. That is the one thing he did not want to have happen this afternoon. You can recover from a minor spin, but a screen going black, that could easily cost him this race, and it could cost him a championship run.
Yeah, we'll see if or when he's able to get back on track and what he can make of this, but had the whereabouts to at least call it out to his opponents, says, hey, I have a problem, got himself off track, got himself out of the way. So those are all positive things, you know, despite what Michael Thorpe is going through. So you're right, you just said he couldn't afford a bad race, and that may be the beginning of a bad race for Mike and for Michael Thorpe here. You know, he told me that, you know, he said he was just concerned about his PC holding up tonight. That was his comments. He's having some computer problems. And so he was concerned about that coming into the race. And, well, so far he's proven to be right.
Oh, a close shave there between Baumgarten and Paulson as they enter turn number 3. Now, it's still not over for Thorpe. He doesn't need to get back to the points lead, right? He only needs to get into 8th. If he can get into 8th, then he can bounce back with another points reset and try to get himself back into contention. So that is a doable task, especially when you know one of your opponents is guaranteed not to make it to the end of this race with Ty Marasco.
Yeah, now luckily for Michael Thorpe, he told me earlier, he said, hey, I like the Glen. I'm fast at the Glen. He kind kind of felt confidence in you. He knows maybe not every playoff driver has that same confidence at the road course that he does. So he kind of told me in advance, hey, if I have problems tonight, I still feel okay. Oh my goodness, that's Yancey again. That's the second time. That's up in the wall.
Hard hit in the
gosh.
wall. Took Tanner Mara with him,
Wow.
and that was extremely reminiscent of what happened last season here when Eddie Haggy got sideways, slid down the racetrack, right back up into traffic in turn 3, and it just took someone out with him.
Wow, that's timing. Maybe fortunate for some drivers at the 21 lap mark to have this happen. Well, let's watch the replay. There's that Sprite machine. He came down and just doored Curtis Yancey. Yancey is just like a target for contact tonight. Now, here's what I got scared of. At first, that car was pointed straight up.
Oh,
I thought
Bill!
for sure he was going head first in the wall, but got it saved up there, and then Tanner Marr is going to get up there and some others. So now the question becomes, how bad is that damage for Curtis Yancey in this moment?
51 slides. Hard hit right there. Look at Larry Bell of the 43 just barely sneaked through for the Pit Lizard Performance Camaro.
Yeah, that's a great move by him. So I can tell right now, Curtis Yancey looks to be done based upon that damage. He's already went ahead and parked the car, called it a night. Oh, and I would not be surprised if Tanner Marr may be on that list as well. Not sure.
One more from Larry Bell. Hang on for this. Never sees it coming and just locked up the brakes. 4-tire slide, just sneaks through.
That's wild. That's the sometimes the luck that is sim racing is those moments like that. Well, here we come. Everyone down pit road. Not a surprise. It'll be 4 tires and gas for everyone involved. Tanner Marr also has some damage in that car as well. Has not parked it yet. So here you see everyone down pit road. You'll see all the different cars going up and down with the different sides of the car. We'll see the race off at pit road here.
Fuel only, looking to be a popular call.
I'm kind of surprised. You don't. I mean, listen, this track is known to spread out and go green. I would not be inclined to miss a chance to put tires in this car. But Ty Marasco, the car who thought he would start in parking, well, listen. Good news for Ty Marasco. Right now, we have Curtis Yancey out of the race. We have Michael Thorpe Jr. currently out of the race. So by sticking around, Marasco has picked up at least 2 spots. So here's the overhead view. That's the 31. That's Connor Gibson. And then ensues for now. Now here's the interesting part is that he thinks, of course, being Curtis Yancey, pronouns are important. Curtis thinks that Bumgarner was at fault for that. Curtis had some more words from Bumgarner under yellow. So,
I mean,
listen, and here's the thing. As a driver in a car, let me say this real quick. You get a weird perspective of what happens in an incident that maybe you'll get differently if you take the time to watch the broadcast back or watch a replay. But from inside the car, you're not always right. That's hard to accept as a driver. I have that problem as well. But watch it here. Here's what Yancey's going to see. We'll go back a little bit here. This is going to be from behind these guys.
Yeah, this is Sikorsky. I'm curious if Bumgarner comes down at all. He does a little bit, but not enough to really call him I think that's just a racing deal.
It's a complete racing deal. But I can tell you that before Yancey parked the car, he had some words for Bumgarner again for the second time tonight. So, oh boy, and Sikorsky get to go right on by.
Well,
here we go from Mr. I'm going to start in park to leading the race.
Trying to psych out the competition, maybe?
Maybe just get whatever you can out. Listen, I'm willing to bet if Ty's still reading this race, when halftime is over, that'll be a hard choice.
Only a handful of cars took tires. Hop and Shire are on tires. They're on 4. Keith Lee's on 4 tires. Craig Martin is on 2. 11 seconds in the box for him. And then Sean Williams on 4 tires. Peng on 4 tires. Same story for Bell. And Gibson also taking only 2. Everyone else is fuel only or repairs.
We'll see how that goes. Listen, if this race stays green for a whole run, 30 laps or so, those guys who took tires are going to look like geniuses.
Race car pulling into pit road once again. To the Geico restart zone, Ty Marasco out in front as your control car. Green flag back in the air, and racing action resumes at Auto Club Speedway. Michael Ashmore immediately pulling down onto the apron. He's going to get back in line. Meanwhile, they thunder off into turn number 1, 3 wide. Baumgarten in the middle, Paulson up top, Jaden Hop down low. Hop quickly pulls clear for the both of them as we hit the back straightaway.
There we go. Look at that. Hop got all the way back up top. He knows where he wants to be. He's determined that he likes that top lane, wanted to be in line with the other drivers and build up that speed. And there he is now. Look at that. There were 3 or 4 different lanes being used by those cars in that camera shot.
Hop trying to go for his second win in just 3 starts. Took his maiden win by a very convincing margin at the Kansas Speedway 1 week ago. Right now, he's to the inside of Ryan Dees, one of the many playoff contenders in this field. And look at Hop cutting his way through. This is the difference on 20-lap fresh tires versus old ones.
Yeah, I told you I thought this was the right call. Just, you know, a smaller field means not that many cars to pass. A big, wide track means many lanes to do it with. And I do. These tires are just going to eat up this field. And Hop here, riding the bottom of the track, holding it pretty steady. He's around Kilrow for second. And maybe, I would suspect, in less than a lap, he'll be around Ty Marasco for the lead.
So he's going to get things up and rolling in front, and not expecting too much in the way of issues here for these guys. So Ty Marasco, Hop easily pulls around the outside. Here comes Michael Keithley. Keithley had a suspension for the Kansas race after he actually intentionally wrecked Curtis Yancey at Martinsville. We talked about that a little bit as well last week. Now he's making his return. I think this is a bit of a surprise. A lot of drivers, I think us included, weren't really expecting to see Keithley back after that incident. But he's back on the racetrack and he's up to second.
Not bad to see him. I'm glad to see him back, pardon me. I think that says a lot about a driver when you can come back from a suspension. Obviously, there's no way to hide from it. There's no way people don't know what happened. So you come back, you prove yourself. Hey, man, listen, I had a moment of rage. I got frustrated. I made a stupid decision, whatever you want to say, and you move on. And now you come out here and you race hard, and you just do what you can. But right now, look at this. There's Ty Marasco already back there in P5. This new tire thing, I think this is the right call. I've said it a couple times. I mean, those new tires, what they allow you to do is they allow you to basically have more grip in the corner. They allow you to be able to get in the throttle sooner, stay in it later, have more speed, more momentum, more everything. And wow, these guys are taking advantage of it.
Taking a look at all the time for the top 15 from pit stops initially here this afternoon. You can really start to see then who's taking fresh tires and who's on old tires. I'm curious about Craig Martin's choice to take 2. 11 seconds back there in 14th right now. It doesn't seem to really be doing much for him.
No. Now, what it may do is if you have an opinion about how your car is driving, typically, if you think part of your car is not handling the way you want, you might try 2 tires and see if that helps it or hurts it. And hey, listen, we're only 20-some laps in, so this really is this, a live experiment, right? You're just going to see what happens, and now you have the notes for later. So you might as well do it on the first pit stop and know if you can do it again.
So Craig Martin will continue to work his way around, and here's a big battle pack right now. Kilrow, Greenwell, Bell, Olsen, Dees, all packed up in the line. Kilrow hard into the outside wall of a turn 2. Back into the outside wall in the back straightaway. Trying to keep it pinned up to the wall. 3 wide. Dees goes evasive, and Paulson will pick up 3.
I mean, Bell moved around there. Dees moved around there. There were so many cars moving around to avoid each other that I was almost concerned we were going to hit each other during wreck avoidance is what they'll look like. Watch the replay here. We'll watch on board here and see what's going to happen. This is going to be Marasco up ahead of us. And up in the wall is this car right here, and it just sort of spreads out everywhere all at once here.
It's a weird moment that hooked him back into the wall. I think potentially just never really got it as settled as it might have looked from outside. Chasing Ty Marasco, and well, that's what we call in the business target fixation.
Yeah, that happens a lot. That's one of the most irritating things that can happen to the driver is you watch someone hit a wall and you just go up and you hit the same wall. You're like, why did I do that? Like, I watched him do it. I should know what not to do. But yeah, that's what a good example of target fixation is. That's what happens to you sometimes is you get locked into something, you just can't break that habit. Well, here we go. Here's Keithley now getting around Scott Shire, or Scott Shire getting around Keithley, depending upon where we are in the corner. And these guys are batting for second, third. Scott, of course, one of those names in orange on the left side of the screen. That means that he is a playoff driver. He's currently the top scoring playoff driver in this race.
Not too far behind him is Sean Williams. Sean Williams, of course, made some of his first entrances into the High Tide Racing League last season as well. And kind of just checking back on where we saw Sean Williams finishing up in the points. It wasn't the most ideal of seasons for this number 89 car. He did put together a strong showing at the end, but just missed out on the playoffs by a little bit. Came in a little bit too late to really make a serious run. This is his first full-time season. Last season he came in about 7 races late. And now he's making a good, convincing show for why he deserves to be in the round of 12.
Yeah, making a great show for it, right? And that's the most important thing, is having those moments and having those little highlights you can kind of lean back on and say, hey, I had a great run and I proved it by being in the top 12. Well, here we are working lap 32 of 125. We're about a quarter of the way through this race, and lots of surprises, some beating, some banging, some upset tempers. Things we typically talk about at the shorter tracks have happened already the first 30 laps. We don't typically have those conversations about a place like Auto Club.
Well, you never know. I mean, there have been some tempers that can flare up at places like this. There's been incidents in the past, of course. It's one of those racetracks. It's a lot wider than it looks. Well, correction, other way around. It looks a lot wider than it is. It's a track, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, really. And it was sheer luck that we managed to get out of that. As with Kill Row, Derek Paulson really pinching Brian Dees down to the bottom lane there. There's only really a few competitive lines to run to the corners here, and it's a constant jock to see who's going to be trying to get to those spots first.
Yeah, that is right. You're right. There's only a few lines to run here in the corners, but there's definitely many options to where you can be if you need to be. I'm not really thrilled with Dees all the way to the bottom there. I'd rather see Dees almost back that line up, and I'm not thrilled running the complete bottom of the corner. I just think it's a little hard to handle at times, and you can easily slide up and hit someone if you don't mean to. Luckily, Dees so far having a great time handling the car, but we'll see how it goes. So right now, we're only about 10 laps into this run, but boy, oh boy. Well, you're right, and you know what? You said earlier, and I agree with you, this track probably looks wider than it feels, and I think the reason it doesn't feel that wide is even it is a wide track. You know, this sort of, dare I say, flatter banking compared to other tracks makes it kind of feel that way. But real quick, here's Scott Shire now taking the lead from Jaden Hopp. You talked about us having maybe record number lead changes. Well, here possibly comes another one. It won't be official until we get across the line, but look at him here, just dug to the bottom, got up on that first seam. You can see just the first seam of the lines, the little black lines through the corner there that we drivers use as a reference point. Got just that first seam and drove one around, and it is official. Scott Shire has led a lap.
And, well, the reason why that was so easy is because the driver from Whitman, Arizona, was clutch and coasting throughout much of this. Now he cuts to the inside of Shire, going to immediately look to take that lead back. So he was clutch and coasting up until Shire and Keithley got up to him. Now he's starting to put the hammer down. He wants to log laps led. I think he wants to try to pad those stats a little bit and really make a case for, why he's not going to allow himself to be kind of mussing around. One thing as well, top of the shot, stadium lights are officially on at Auto Club.
The clutch and coast is interesting. Before our first yellow, when I said, hey, total we're 5 laps off, if you do the 30-lap runs, that made sense to me. But we pitted around lap 22 or 22 is when they came in. The numbers there, 52, 82, 112, you're not going to save 13 laps by clutching and coasting. That's not possible, with all due respect to anyone. And if it is possible, we're going to check your equipment to see what you did that we don't know about. But that's why I'm kind of confused by the clutching and coasting. Saving 13 laps is a much different story than saving 5 across a couple pit stops.
On board with Jason Greenwell, as he's got Brian Dees and Derek Paulson working together to try to pull clear around the top side. Paulson, the team MFRD car, is through. And no dice, it looks like, for Brian Dees. And now the battle on as well for the number 2 spot just up the road as Scott Shire and Keithley coming to blows.
Yeah, they're doing a great job here. Right now, Keithley's doing a great job of just kind of following along. Now, if you want to save gas, I think that's the way to do it. I'm not saying that is Keithley's goal here. But if you were trying to save gas, you get tucked up behind someone and let their draft sort of carry you around and see what you can make of it. But for right now, Jaden Hoppe is out front. Then it's Shire and Keithley, that battle you just saw. Right here, this is a battle for 7th and 8th. With Dees and Paulson, and he's got all those cars behind him. Sikorsky, Greenwell, Bumgarten's back there. David Lakey's back there somewhere. So lots of great battles happening across this track here. This track may be big and wide, but it still provides for some pretty amazing racing.
It really does. Honestly, some of the best racing that you can get in the service when it comes to oval racing. And I'm a big sucker from Michigan as well, sometimes dubbed the sister track to Auto Club. There's similar relative-ish layouts just by shape alone. Of course, banking and track service are way different, but 2 miles as well. Similar style of racing, but I've always liked Auto Club more. The lower banking really allows you to build these lines up a little bit more over the course of the run.
Yeah, I agree with that. You can really build up some runs here and you can make some moves happen. We've seen that, of course, multiple times, not just with the lead change, but with the battles happening here, throughout this field. But right now, the stat that stuck out to me, I want to point this out real quick here. We're watching here Brian Dees. But look at that car ahead of him. That's Ty Marasco. I'm happily surprised that Marasco's only fallen to 6th. And I mean that in a way to say, hey, when he didn't take tires, I was concerned Marasco was going to fall much further down the field than he did. But so far, he's got this car recovered and is keeping P6.
And at
now,
this...
I will say real quickly here, sorry, that I'm surprised Marasco's still out here. We're into the 3rd quarter. No one saw Ty Marasco.
I think he figured a championship for the High Tide Racing League might be a little bit more appealing, perhaps. We'll see. You might have heard your Michigan comment as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out. But he's currently sitting in the Discord room with his teammates, Brian Dees, Dalton Kilroe, Bumgarten, and Derek Paulson. So maybe they've said, hey, man, listen, just stick it out. We'll see what happens. So I'm proud of him for sticking it out. I do. I think it's important to get out here and get these points. And maybe that early caution gave him some hope, with those drivers out of the race, with Tanner Marr gone, Michael Thorpe gone, Curtis Yancey gone. Maybe it gave him some hope for some points that sort of caused him to want to stick this out.
It's a big shame that we haven't seen Thorpe get back up on the racetrack. I really did believe that, once Thorpe's connection and, his screen dropped out, it'd be a quick, maybe a computer reset and then get right back in it. But whatever the issues are, they clearly must be more severe than that, because a driver like Thorpe would not take up a chance to he would not take the chance to drop out of a race this early in the playoffs unless he physically was not capable of running it anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately for Michael, he might have got frustrated. He might have just, you know what, man, I'm annoyed and frustrated. When you have this kind of technical hardware problems, it can sometimes get to you, and the last thing he wants to do is be in the way of someone else. Probably the pride moment he has, if you want to have one, about what happened to him, he had the wherewithal to get off the track and not cause a caution, not wreck somebody else, or not cause a problem. And so he's maybe thinking, hey, man, if I had this system problem, the last thing I want to do is come back and make someone else's night worse.
Pretty wide off of turn 2. Kyle Wellman up top. Bob Barry in the middle. Dalton Kilroe down low. Barry backs out from the middle groove. So Kyle Wellman, a driver that we have not seen out much this season. He's been slowly ticking away race starts. Right now running back in 15th, trying to keep 2 drivers at bay. One of those, in fact, they are both playoff contenders. Oh, and trouble! Barry's into the wall! Kilroe gets taken out as well. Caution is out for the 2nd time tonight, and 2 of your playoff contenders are involved. One of them, the regular season champion.
What happened? I'm not sure if Barry got in the wall alone or if maybe he got ran over by the car behind him. We'll have to wait and see, but that was sudden. So, and I think Dalton Kilroe just avoids it. Watch this here. Bob Barry comes up.
Just turns into him.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, right. Actually, you're right. Bob Berry gets into that car, and I think Kilroe's safe. I think Kilroe just got into the grass as fast as humanly possible, was down there, but I'm not sure if he made contact. Maybe a different angle will show us that. But Bob Berry gets the car turned around here and keeps it moving. And here's from Kilroe. Watch this. Berry comes up, not clear.
Oh,
Maybe a little, but
good recovery nonetheless. I hate to say it, but Berry just did that to himself.
Yep. He told Kyle Bowman, said, hey, listen, I thought I was clear. I wasn't. He apologized. He owned it. And seems like all is good. And they have moved on. Well, here we are, pitting again, right around 20 laps in, lap 45. Jaden Hop's going to lead us down pit road here. And I suspect after what Ty Marasco and others saw with the tires last time, I don't think we'll have any no tire takers in this pit stop.
Jaden Hop makes his way down into pit road, and while we got these pit stops underway, something else we have, honestly, it's completely flown over our heads. Benjamin Lacey, the number 5 runner of the points exited the regular series season, he is also not present this afternoon. So that is now 2 drivers that Marasco has to contend with that are all of a sudden out of the race. I think Marasco sees hope. That's why he's now staying in it.
And that's interesting because yeah, you're right. I didn't get any pre-race thoughts from Ben. So you're right. Ben Lacey not here. So you're right. I mean, for Marasco, that's 1, 2, it's a couple drivers. Him and him being, of course, Lacey and Thorpe not involved here. Let's just stop asking the questions. And let's find out some answers here. Now they're off pit road. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and say hello to Ty Marasco. Ty, sorry to cut you off there. So, Ty, we're a little surprised. Here we are, 3rd quarter. I don't know if you want to know the score. I know the score.
I have it on my phone.
You have it on your phone. We talked about that pre-race. We're a little surprised you're still in the race. You just kind of, was it the early playoff drivers dropping out? What caused you to not want to start in park?
So I was going to start in park, and then this race started around halftime. So I'm like, well, I just race to the end of the half, and then I'm having a solid race, and I know playoff drivers are dropping out, and so I pulled up my phone and was waiting till, see what the halftime, and then, they just came out of halftime and scored, so we're up 3 scores. I'm feeling pretty confident.
Well, it didn't help you were leading the race at one point, another problem.
No, that wasn't part of the decision at all. But yeah, we're just having a good race, and definitely going to keep an eye on the game, and hopefully it gets over by the time this game ends, because I would like to definitely watch the end. But
oh yeah,
hopefully Ohio State wins. So go Buckeyes. Probably we're up 3 scores, and yeah, let's just have a good race with it, because I think I'm gonna stay in, because we're up 3 scores. If it was a closer game, I probably would have been like, eh.
Yeah, closer game, no one would have been calling the race on his own. So I do have to ask you this: how does a guy from Macomb, Michigan, end up an Ohio State fan?
That's a good question. So my dad, he was an Ohio State. I grew up. He was an Ohio State fan. He's actually from Michigan too, though. So him and his uncle like the go back and forth. And his uncle was like a big Michigan fan. So my dad just adopted Ohio State because he just wanted to like stick it to his uncle to be like, we're rivals, So that's how that all really kind of came out, and that's how I became Ohio State fan. So. It's a good question, because a lot of people don't understand it, but I mean, living in Michigan, I'll be honest, there are quite a few. I know quite a few Ohio State fans that live in Michigan, and I know there's people in Ohio that are Michigan fans, so it is kind of weird how that works. But
being from Ohio, we don't acknowledge those people. We don't claim them. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know. I hate that those 2 colors, that M and B color. I despise them. So.
All right, we're about to go, guys. We're going to put you back. Good luck the rest of the race. All right, there's Ty Marasco. That's all the explanation. Decided, hey, Ohio State's up 3 scores. I'm doing well. That helped his decision making. And here we are, green on flap 47 when Ty Marasco started outside in 3rd row.
Huge jump off the line from Jaden Hobb, already clear by about 4. Coming down to turn number 1 now, 3 by 3 wide in turn 1. Look at Marasco lunging around the top shelf. Sam Baumgarten thinking about going for 4 up the middle. They're still thinking about 4 wide, and they're going to keep it 3 for the time being, but Jaden Hopp up by a 1/4 of a second. Well, this is the Hornet's Nest back here.
Wow, this is crazy. This is what new tires and confidence with the sunset going down will get you. Colder temps, more grip. And these guys are using every ounce of it. My goodness, we're bump drafting at Auto Club.
Huge got down. Thought for a moment we might have a wreck there. No, we are going to have a wreck. Kyle Wellman going to get turned middle of the pack up into the up almost into the wall. I think he kept it off of it, but clear caution denied on lap 49. And well, let's not kid ourselves. You can see that one coming a mile away.
Certainly felt that way, didn't it? Certainly felt like it was happening, and probably realistically probably could have happened 2 or 3 times before that. But here is Wellman. Here is in that beige colored car. It's going to be a yellow car coming behind him. And not clear. Second time tonight we've seen that. Oh, the 31 got hit. But Wellman was not clear. Came up here over top of that yellow car and then up. Smacks the back end, maybe? No, actually, I think he just kind of kept it safe. So he might be okay. But here we are again, caution.
Round they go. Good save for Connor Gibson. Larry Bell again with a near miss.
That's becoming a trend, and not a trend Larry Bell wants to be a part of, right? That's the times the time you're like, all right, listen, you know. But yeah, I mean, that's tough. I mean, that's tough with how fast that closed. Wellman probably thought he was clear, had a car coming behind him, and just things happen. But watch this, Larry Bell. The wreck's going to happen just to your top right here. It kind of rolls up a little bit, and there, around it goes. But man, when you're Larry Bell, you hate to be a part of that stuff, Nolan, because eventually as a driver, you think to yourself, man, like, how many more of this do I have left in me? Like, you know, I can only do that so many times. That's what you're telling yourself as a driver when you're Larry Bell. You're like, I'd rather not have that skill.
It's one of those things where you're kind of gambling a little bit, and every time the odds turn more and more against you, sooner or later you're going to come up with snake eyes. Few playoff contenders coming down to pit road. Dustin Pink, Scott Shire among them. Craig Martin with damage, and along with, Wellman are all in. Kilbrough and Bell are also in, along with Bob Berry.
Yeah, and this may be more, I remember I said last time everyone's going to take tires. I would expect this right here is either damage in the case of the 50. Larry Bell, as far as I know, has no damage. Despite his gas only, why not put some gas in the car? Why not maybe get a couple extra laps out of it? By the way, back of your screen, Wellman completely missed that pit stop, so had to back it up on pit road to get in there. But yeah, everyone's out pretty quickly. This has appeared to be gas only for most of these drivers.
So fuel only for most, and we are under caution for the 3rd time this afternoon. 50 laps into racing action at the Auto Club Speedway. Well, we're going to take ourselves a step back as we're back in time for the restart. We are closing in on halfway for the first round of the round of 12.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. 1 lap to green. We're in turn 2. We'll restart on lap 53. Pretty much about 10 laps shy of the halfway point if you're just tuning in. You're watching the High Tide Racing League MFRD Designs Premier Series round, the first round of 12 at the Auto Club Speedway. My name is Rempel alongside Derek Watson. So far, racing action has been stellar all night long. 18 drivers remain on the lead lap. 19 on the racetrack. We had 22 start this race, and out of the cars that are out, one of them was the regular season runner-up, Michael Thorpe Jr.
Yeah, Thorpe is out, unfortunately. We saw Tanner Mars had some problems. Curtis Yancey's had some problems. And there's plenty of cars in the back that have some damage. Dalton Kilrow has some damage. We'll see what his night has the store for him. But here's a playoff driver, top field, first car. Ty Marasco is going to help lead this field back around.
Field works off of turn number 4 into the Geico restart zone. Jaden Hopp jumping on the loud panel. Green flag back in the air. 10 laps shy of the halfway point as Hopp takes off with Marasco and Paulson in tow. Fanning out 3, 4 wide in turn number 1. Look at Carter Phillips sliding the inside. Baumgarten takes 3 up the middle, and Keithley will drop 3. He was one of those drivers that is still on some old rubber.
Yeah, it really feels like as more drivers get comfortable here at this track and these temps keep dropping with the nighttime hours, the nighttime sky, if you will, that we're just getting a little bit more bold with these 3 and 4 wide moves. Again, here we are, 3 wide, and maybe looking at 4 wide any second now. So this is what's going to happen here. Now, of course, the problem is, who's brave enough? Here's Bob Berry down pit road, and I do not. Yes, he does. Bob Berry has a black flag, so I'm not sure what it came from. But Bob Berry's down at pit road serving a black flag penalty.
Not the run that Bob Berry needed this afternoon. One of the playoff contenders critically should still be on the lead lap. Maybe we'll have to see here. There's still double file. Meanwhile, as we work our way to turn numbers 3 and 4, look at Ethan Sikorsky driving around the top, and all of a sudden, Jaden Hopp has vanished.
Yeah, he has really quickly, hasn't he? He went from leading this race here back to P8 very quickly. So keep an eye on that and see what could happen here. Watch this here. There's a Marasco going around Hopp. Went to the inside, got down in the corner, down to about the first seam, maybe a little lower. And they fought for it. And all of a sudden, Hopp just starts to sink. Does he hit the wall? No.
I wonder if he's put into the clutch again on that car, trying to save some fuel.
I get it. I don't want to say I don't understand, but that's a long game to play on lap 50, 54, 55. We'll see how it works out. The Arizona native won last week, so maybe he knows something I don't know.
Yep, clutch and coasting.
Oof.
Saw that tachometer meter drop.
Sometimes the driver, and listen, we see this more in endurance racing, on the roadside, where drivers get so locked into their fuel mileage and fuel saving that they kind of lose sight of, risk versus reward. What are you gaining and what are you risking by doing that? And we'll see a lot of road drivers who really want to fuel save, and they do it at the cost of maybe, losing pace in the race. So we'll see as this night goes on how it works out for Jaden Hopp. I mean, he's still up here in the draft. My goodness. Dustin Payne is playing with fire.
He's getting aggressive. I think he knows that championship is on the line, and he doesn't want to be caught up behind some of these guys that he is not actively battling for his title run. Case in point, Connor Gibson to his inside. Right now, Pink's been a little bit boxed in by Sam Baumgarten and then unable to cut off the run for the 31 Sprite Camaro down low.
Here they are still. I mean, they're 3 wide offset here. As you see, the Ping now is up to the top. He's got is that Marasco behind him? Yep.
No, that's Marasco in front. That's Lakey behind him.
That's Lakey behind him. Pardon me. Yeah, I got my paint schemes confused for a second here. So.
And all the while, Derek Paulson still leads the way, but the VC SimSport number 83 machine of Jason Greenwell is right up the backside and is ready to do battle. Quarter of a second separate them. You got first to 10 separated by less than 2 seconds. That's not a lot of time on an oval by any stretch of the means. And every one of those cars, I'd say it was an equal shot at the moment of trying to make moves for the lead.
Yeah, everyone has a shot here. If you've seen it as just the number of leaders tonight, everyone's had a shot at the lead. It feels like probably more cars than not have led a lap. At least that's the feeling here so far tonight. It's just how many people have led a lap and been up there and then sort of got shuffled back. So here is Ping again, still fighting Bumgarner, Lakey, and others on back here through the field. That's D's back there. That's P8. So this is a pretty heavy battle back here. This is a nice battle. That's probably what, 4th through 9th maybe in that picture.
Yeah, you got the 4th place driver, Sam Baumgarten, and this stretches all the way back to Craig Martin. Yep, you're right, down in 9th place. Good call on that one. Actually, pretty much spot on. Ping, Baumgarten, side by side, the defending champion from Season 2. He may have lucked into a championship in season number 2, but now he's trying to earn it back the hard way and prove that he deserves to have that title as he fights his way to 4th.
Yeah, doing a great job right there as Ping got himself sort of clear to that mess and now has a clear view of Ty Marasco ahead of him. So now he gets to kind of focus ahead instead of all around him and kind of lock in that focus. But boy, this group right here, if they're not careful, they're going to be the next caution. They're going to cause something to happen they don't want to happen. But watch the replay here. This will be from Brian Dees. There's Hop on the outside. Here's David Lakey up front. Lakey is slightly loose. You can see it just barely.
And this was actually a couple laps ago, so wrong lap on that one. But you saw Lakey get into the tail of Baumgarten, kind of send him for a bit of a ride in a turn 3. Like we said, playing with fire when you make moves like that. Now, that time, granted, it was not Dustin Ping that made it, but I think some of that aggression has started to show now that the sun's going down. This track is getting more and more into peak conditions.
Yeah, more and more conditions. Look at there. There's stats on the screen. Gets, it's February 3rd, 2025 in the sim. That's your sim date. So 67 degrees outside, 69 degrees on the track. So that track is cooling off as the sun goes down, and it's going to get more grip in it, which is good news for these drivers who want to make some moves. Here we're up through right again. Lakey on the outside. You see D's on the middle there. Sprite Machines on the bottom. Now they're back to 2 wide racing. And meanwhile, though, what's happening? Every time they get in this battle and they fight this hard, those front 3 of Paulson, Marasco, and Greenwald just get further and further out of their windshield view.
You got battles further down the pack as well. Larry Bell side by side with Michael Keithley as we rocket off in turn number 4 as well. These guys scrapping it out for 15th place on back. You've also got Scott Shire in the mix and Michael Ashmore just kind of tagging on to the tail end of this as well. So, like we mentioned, right, fights all over the field right now. Hobb Williams kind of caught in a little bit of no man's land. They're just trying to find somebody they can get with so they can try to have some fun with this race as well. We're now halfway home in race number 16.
Yeah, doing a great job, more than halfway home here. But now what's starting to stick out in my mind here, and some conversations I had earlier with drivers who were in the playoffs is, do some people feel the need to perform here? Because next week, remember, you and I, we're headed up north. We're going to Watkins Glen up in New York. That's where this High Tide Racing League is racing next Monday. And if I was a driver who maybe wasn't a road course specialist, I would feel extra pressure to perform tonight so that I knew that I maybe had a cushion, maybe is the right word, going into the 3rd race. Because if you're not a road course specialist, then you have to perform well tonight. If you do port it here and you do port it at the road course, you're just really behind the 8 ball in the 3rd race.
Watkins Glen is such a unique racetrack for these cars, right? I mean, there's not a lot of turns. There's a lot of points where you can really draft together. I think it's one of the more exciting road courses that NASCAR has been to throughout its extensive history. I love Watkins Glen. It's a great track. It flows well. Cannot wait to see what the final road course race of the season has in store for us now. Craig Martin up to the top shelf. He's trying to make a move on Brian Dees.
Yeah, doing a great job with Craig Martin. Craig's been involved in a couple incidents, or at least around them tonight. Still up here racing and doing fairly well in that number 50 bright yellow machine. But I think the thing about the Glen, you know, remember, this is my opinion. Either you're good at road courses or you're not. And some drivers just don't. They hate them. They don't want to practice them. They despise racing there, and it shows in how they race sometimes. And so there'll be some drivers who maybe surprise us, who maybe don't always get to the top of the field. There may be some new names involved next week that we don't typically get a lot of time to talk about.
It's unique as well because, again, it's been a while since we've been to the last road course race. The last road course race we ran in this league is so far the only other one. That was way back in race 5 before you came onto the show, Derek. It was all the way at the Charlotte Roval. We had 30 cars lining up to race there. It was a good race, but it was one of attrition. Not a lot of drivers were big fans of that racetrack, and it showed in how some of them drove it, but there were some that could put on one heck of a battle, especially for some of the top spots, and I think we're both looking forward to what we got in store for us a week from today. Grebo makes up a move for 3rd, and now Craig Martin trying to attack Sam Baumgarten for 5th, sorry.
Doing a great job. Now Martin's gone from the top to the bottom. Martin's all over this track, Nolan. He is just trying to use whatever lane works. He's cleared D's here, but now D's going to try to get back in here on the bottom of the track. But it really does feel like Martin is just trying to use whatever lane he thinks will work. Some drivers really commit to a lane and they all have a hard time talking them out of it. Not Craig Martin. He'll just move on around the track.
And then up front, top 2, Marasco, Paulson, nose to tail as we work our way down into turn number 1 this time by, and you can see Marasco. He's trying to find a way through. He's hungry for that lead back. And the driver from Grafton, North Dakota, has got his work cut out for him.
Now, if you tie Marasco, what you do, and see you've got a small bump there to Paulson, by the way, but if you tie Marasco, what you got to do is be careful here, right? You want to lead and you want to win, but this is also about management, right? Because right now you're in P2. Dalton Kilrow, your points leader, is in P11. Michael Thorpe, who was 2nd points, is out of the race. He is down there towards the bottom of the field. Ben Lacey's not here. So this is almost more of a situational management race if you're Ty Marasco. You have a chance to go from last place to a really good spot right now, you know, based on how this goes. So, yes, have some fun here. Try to lead, try to win, try to get around Paulson, but don't make a mistake here. You'll regret later.
Marasco will take that one to the bottom side of 3 and 4, and look at that textbook crossover from Derek Paulson. Marasco sent it in a bit too deep. Paulson immediately gets the drive back, and they are side by side down the front straightaway. No surprises here. Paulson knows how to hold on to these leads. We saw him almost take a win at the Chicagoland Speedway when he got turned on the final lap, and he almost got turned by Marasco.
Almost got turned by Marasco. These guys are getting close and cutting it close here, but Marasco now back to the lead. Doing a great job here on lap 70.
Oh,
he's probably having fun though, as those cars in the back. That's David Lakey almost off track here.
That was Baumgarten.
That was Lakey at the bottom of the 84. I saw it at the bottom of the track. Baumgarten up top. There's Martin in the middle again. Boy, oh boy, these guys just can't seem to really separate, can they? They're just like all magnetically attracted all night long. Watch this here.
Whoa, that's tight.
Cool.
And all of a sudden, I think he got a bump from D's and it just unsettled him.
Yeah, there's been a couple bumps tonight that drivers haven't been happy about. Earlier I heard Dalton Kilrow telling people to stop bumping. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. This is not the track I would think I wanted to get bumped at. But watch this here. This is the top speed. Yep, there it is. You're right. There's that bump from D's. And unsettled both of them. Oh, man, that was not a square bump. There's the philosophy of bump drafting we've talked about where if you do it, you have to do it right in the back of the car. Here's our first car down pit road, by the way. This is Larry Bell. This is lap 71. This is within that pit window. Remember, most people pitted with lap 46. Now, there was a couple cautions in there, so maybe go a little long, but I bet with the next 5 laps, everybody's down pit road.
Baumgarten catches the wall in turn 1. He's going to lose a handful of spots. Credit to Lakey in that bit of a close moment, though. He read that situation very well. The second Baumgarten started to get loose, he made a quick check to the inside, trying to make sure he gave them as much room as possible in case that escalated. Oh, and now Baumgarten almost getting sent again in turn 3.
Yeah, This is getting aggressive and almost maybe needlessly aggressive at points in this race here. This is still a good number of laps to go, and there went Bumgarner up into the top, and everyone just kind of went right on by.
What is this feels beef with the 53 this afternoon? I mean, he's been put through the ringer. He's been blamed for incidents. This time it's Ethan Sikorsky. Just getting to the tail end.
Wow.
What do people have against this man?
You know, sometimes it feels that way, right? But there's that topic of bumping at this track again, and I think that's meant to be a helpful thing. I don't think that was aggressive.
Okay,
oh,
well, then, are you sure about that?
never mind. Yeah, that was a hip check.
Man.
Poor Dalton Kilrow, he's not careful. Dalton's already having a rough night. He's about to be caught in the middle of a fist fight if he's not careful here. Yeah.
Oh,
guys,
okay,
hold
actually,
on.
we're going to cut back to that. Yeah, we'll look at that in just a moment. Holy cow, Sikorsky is... Oh, my goodness.
Cut this back about 10, 15 seconds. You're going to see the block of all blocks. If you want to make like a textbook definition of how to block someone down a straightaway, that's what happened there between Sikorsky and Bumgarner. Watch this here. That's afterwards, I think. I don't know where it came from, but I saw it live. I mean...
Yeah, this was before, and then... Bumgarner here. This was the incident coming down to the turn 3.
Yeah, so this is turn 3. There's a hip check. That put him up on the wall. This is the what I thought was the beginning of things, and then we're talking a bit right about here, and they're all like, yeah, okay, maybe you're right. Now watch this. Is this the block? We have one more to... Oh, look at that.
Oh, my word.
What is that? I mean, that's just proving a point that you can do it. That's just...
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's a point you want to prove. If Bumgarner doesn't lift, you're only wrecking yourself there. It'd be your own fault for doing it.
Well, sometimes as drivers, we forget about that, though. Sometimes as drivers, you forget about that when you're trying to prove a point. You're so intent on making a point, blocking someone or pinching someone or what have you. You kind of forget that idea. Or you don't care in that moment because you're just angry.
If we get a chance under caution later on, I'd love to get the chance to speak to Bumgarner and see, what his thoughts are on all of this. Because it almost feels like there's some kind of a story here that, I don't know, maybe we've been missing it or whatever, but it seems like everyone's got it out for that 53 car all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of suspicious. I'll admit that. So we'll have to wait and see what's going on here. But more cars down pit road 31. Connor Gibson has announced he will pit this time by. As we work lap 76, I'm surprised we've not seen a few more already.
And here comes that 31 car down on the bottom side of 4. He'll make his way into pit road. No problems getting down onto the limiter, so the 31 car is into the pits for the first time today. And here comes Michael Ashmore making his way out of pit road.
You figure if we can go 30 to 35 laps, these guys, everyone should have one more stop in them here. No one's going to make it in this their last stop, I wouldn't believe, but right now, so here comes everybody. Sikorsky's going to come down. This will probably be one of the 2 bigger pit laps here at the end of 77.
Coming off of turn 4, here comes Derek Paulson. Interesting.
That was a late decision.
And Paulson going for the undercut here, really trying to attack entry there. I think potentially unannounced as well. I think Mike be trying to catch Marasco out. Didn't want to telegraph what he was planning on doing there. Sikorsky and Greenwell are in, and there's Gibson making his way out.
I'll tell you what I call from the Paulson, I mean, you're right, all those points I like all them, but he was also a late decision. That could have been really bad really quickly had he just mistimed that breaking point or when to cut it in. He could have found a car looped around or in a wall or something else.
Paulson now heading out of pit road, and here comes Ty Marasco. And Marasco, recognizing the undercut threat, is going to make an immediate call to duck down to the pit road the lap after, trying to give up as little time as possible. I like the decision from Marasco, right? He's got to play defensive now. Lakey and Bumgarner both in as well.
So far, everyone doing a good job. No black flags. No speeding, no pit road violations. So everyone's keeping that pretty well intact. Here comes Keithley down pit road. To me, the question is not this pit stop. This pit stop is obvious. It's 4 tires and gas, and you'll see both sides of the car come up here. The question now for me is, what do you do about that last stop. So if we figure we go 30 to 35 laps, these drivers right here are going to have to pit somewhere between lap 110 and 115. That's when they'll be out of gas. That's 10 laps to go. So obviously that's a splash and go. But do you try to pit it early and see if you can make something happen? Do you run the car dry? That strategy may be what wins this race, and who makes the right call at the right moments. Well, back on track, you see the cars merging out. Everyone trying to find their way back through as we begin to cycle around. If we take a look here, I see that Craig Martin, Dalton Kilroe, Kyle Wellman, and Scott Shire, your top 4, are the last 4 not to pit.
Hop, Ping, and D's are all in pit road right now. Whoa, Lakey, look out as David Lakey sliding out. Now, he had just come down the pit road. Is that cool tires on exit, or did he have a penalty to serve?
There is no black flag assigned to that car that I see according to race control, so I'm not sure if he just lost it there or if he thought he needed. That looks like he was pitting again. I mean, that right? I don't know if maybe he didn't get enough gas in the car or if he, I don't know.
Oh,
there's
there we
no
go.
black flag, but
so
okay, yeah, you're right.
Definitely cold tires. Good save,
that's
though.
A scary ride. And that is for Larry Bell. Maybe not as close as the first 2 incidents he caught tonight, but that's another time for Larry Bell when he was right near an accident.
Boy, and Craig Martin was probably needs to change the race trousers. He almost got cleaned out by that.
Yeah, so did Pell, actually. But yeah, you're right. Well, here comes Dalton Kilroe down pit road. He had a chance to lead the lap here. So add him to the list of drivers who've led a lap. And that list has got to be, I would think, at least 7 or 8 drivers deep at this point.
Shire is also into pit road, and that will see Derek Paulson swing back to the lead of this race, and he should take this one by a pretty convincing margin as well. And in that one lap that he short pitted Marasco on, he has now made his way up. We are talking 2.7 seconds. That is a huge amount in just one lap of racing.
Yeah, it's a massive amount. You're right. That's going to be a big, big number to overcome. We'll see how that happens and what happens. And if you take a look at their pit deltas, I mean, there wasn't much difference in them. So it's not like Derek Paulson pulled any kind of magical trick of less gas or not tires. I mean, his pit stop delta is almost identical within a second of Ty Marasco.
You should be able to see Marasco's flash up on that graphic bottom right of the screen in just a moment here when he crosses the line. There you go. So yeah, 0.7 of a second. That's not nothing. I mean, that is quite a bit of time loss in the pits for Marasco. Potentially just not as aggressive on entry or exit. So I doubt all of that. I doubt that 0.7 is just one lap of fuel.
Yeah, I mean, that probably is just one lap of fuel difference and seeing what can happen here. But look at Marasco's going to try to run it down here. He's 2.3 seconds back, so he's no draft, no momentum on either side because Greenwell and Ping are another 2 seconds back from him. So he's just out here running it alone. And last time by, if we take a look, I mean, Marasco and Paulson were within 0.08 of a second of lap time. So there's no difference there.
One driver to watch out for, back of the screen, Dustin Ping. He did put down the fastest lap of the race, and he was 0.3 quicker than Marasco on 2 laps ago. Still a little bit quicker, but not by nearly as much this time around. So Dustin Ping has got something figured out. He's working that groove now, right behind Jason Greenwell. He might be trying to push Greenwell to work his way up, and as I say that, he pulls out a line to go for the spot.
And I started to say, Dustin Ping being faster may be the best news for Ty Marasco that he can get, because if Ping gets up here, and look how fast he just moved right around Greenwell, but if you get Ping up here, you get 2 cars, then they start to question what's better. Is it better that Ping and Marasco work together and that they try to, catch the leader? That would be my opinion, so we'll see if that works out.
Coming down to the turn numbers 1 and 2 once again, as this field is having a pretty good run. I mean, we are in one of the longest green flag runs we've seen all race long. No reason why that can change now. There you see Sam Baumgartner, Brian Dees in a bit of a loosely separated battle pack. They're in a group of 4. Gibson, Sikorsky, Dees, and Baumgartner. And kind of all, I don't want to say really throw a blanket over them. They got a little bit more separation, but
that'd be a huge blanket.
Yeah, there's definitely just some there's some draft battles going on back here as well.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. But right now, we're just going to see who can get around where. There's the 89 at the bottom of the track. Larry Bell is going to get around him. And we'll see how this plays out. That's Williams right there having a great run here. Williams, one of our playoff drivers. And Larry Bell, I mean, Larry's really had some highlights tonight. Maybe not the ones he wanted, but doing well. Here's Brian Dees. He's now going to try to get up here and battle the 94. He gets around him pretty easily. Look at that. And there's Bumgarner on behind. Boy, I'd stick with this for a second. These guys are not very friendly behavior tonight amongst one another.
They really aren't. I mean, they have gotten the elbows out. I don't know if it's been playoff season or if there's been some kind of disagreement from these guys, but I mean, they have been going at it tonight.
Well, there's Sikorsky. He's going to pull back up here in front of Bumgarner. Now the question is who can keep their cool, who can remember, you know, hey, we've seen drivers get suspended here before for doing dumb things. If I don't want to be a part of that, I probably need to make a better decision. Look at that. Bumgarner's power's right on by.
Oh,
and
into the wall.
Oh, Sikorsky up in the wall.
Sikorsky might not. You know what? That, thinking back to, what, about 20 laps ago, that might have been a response to the message that Sikorsky sent.
It may have been. And you know what? And listen, if it was a
Look
response...
out. Oh, boy.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of this. I'm going to be honest here.
Going to say, if that was a response by Bumgarner, now it's the right kind of response to do as a driver, because that was plausible deniability by Bumgarner when he kind of got out of the corner and they both went up the hill a little bit. That's the right kind of response, because if we have to question it, watch this here. He's just going to come up here and it's kind of say, hey, my car got tight. Sorry, dude. Like, I didn't hit you. I did my best to stay off of you. Sorry is what he could say. That's called plausible deniability, if that was a message. But these kind of moves right here where you're digging the bottom of the track and you're going to ride up here, this is not deniability. This is hogwash right here. This is not what league racing is supposed to be. This is tempers flaring. This is people not minding their business. In any moment now, race control needs to step in over the voice chat and say, hey, guys, knock it the hell off, or else.
Connor Gibson, I feel bad for him. He's got no part of this. He's just caught in the middle.
He needs to lift off the gas and get out of there, because he's just, oh man, he's bringing like a rock to a proverbial knife fight here, is where he's about to be.
Well, I mean, Gibson hasn't even had a hand to play in this. He wasn't around them when this whole beef started between them. He's trying to mind his own bit. Frankly, I think the fact that he is right there might be one of the few things that's been keeping Sikorsky from doing anything more.
Well, what I began to wonder was there's a couple of big dives Sikorsky made, getting to the bottom of the track and riding the bottom of the track here. I wonder if maybe he burned up a little bit of stuff. Now here, luckily, this is Dalton Kilrow right here, so maybe that'll also calm it down. Maybe having an admin of the league right here in the middle of your fight, you know, so when you go back to school, you know, you just fight on the playground. Not when the teacher showed up. No, we're good, you know. No one wants to admit to the teacher they're fighting on the playground. Maybe having a race control admin right here in the middle of this will sort of calm this down in this moment.
Kilrow on about 3-lap fresher tires than Sam Bumgarner and drivers around him. Bumgarner digs it to the top side. And Kilrow will remain in line. Dees and Greenwell exchanging positions just up the road within the top 5 as well.
Yes, this is a great battle. If we go back to one thing I want to say, though, that you brought up earlier, you were kind of wondering what was going on, you know, because Bumgarner was getting blamed for some things and this and that, but unfortunately now he's, you know, involved, right? This can't be a victim mentality. You see him kind of get up the track and maybe he did, maybe he didn't. There's been some bumping, there's been some this, some that, so there's no innocent victim in these two. It's just tempers flaring. You know, someone did something they felt they perceived as wrong, and the problem is when these battles escalate like this, it has to stop somewhere, and it's usually somewhere dangerous, right? It's like saying, I poke you, you know, you kick me in the shin, I punch you in the knee, you punch me in the head, and somewhere if we escalate somewhere above that, if we keep going step by step, you know, bad things are at the top of that scale, and it feels like if these guys get back together, that's sort of where we are.
Last lap by Ethan Sikorsky. 10th and a half quicker than Sam Bumgard, and he's going to get right back to him this time around. This is, by the way, the closest battle we have on the racetrack right now. Separate, it was down to a 10th and a half. It extends back up to 3/10 now. So Sikorsky and the TSP Motorsports number 53 Mustang will continue to duke it out with one another. The battle for the lead, just a quick check-in on that as well. 0.8 of a second separating them. Sean Williams just got around David Lakey. No much of a fight given up there by Lakey. And behind these guys, Jaden Hopp now making his way around, well, trying to make his way around Craig Martin. Didn't go his way that time by, but Hopp is starting to climb the ranks again.
Yeah, he, of course, led the race earlier. We've talked about him doing his clutch and coast. And I think it's worth mentioning, by the way, at 32 laps to go, everyone right here should be in pit stop range. I'm not saying they're going to pit right now, but I'm saying whatever happens right now, yellow flags, green flag, pit stops, whatever, this is it, fuel-wise, unless we get like a bunch of overtimes. But Jaden Hopp here back at P9 wants to try to get around here again, get around Connor Gibson, and try to get back in front. But he is sold on...
Kyle Wellman getting physical back here.
And there's been a lot of that tonight. But I was going with Hopp, I mean, almost 9 seconds back to the leader. Short of a yellow flag, I think Jaden Hopp has missed out on a chance to win this race.
You know, that might have been a message of displeasure to Craig Martin as well, because remember, the last caution was caused by, what was it, I think right front to left rear contact from Martin to Wellman. So maybe he finally got the chance to express some displeasure. To be credit, only a little bump, give him a little tag, let him know he's there. He hasn't escalated it until now when he gets him again in 3.
I'll tell you what, this is getting to be a real trippy night as far as, and again, look at that Connor Gibson again in the middle of a fight. He doesn't has nothing to do with it. We didn't see that like 10 minutes or 5 minutes ago. That's crazy that he is there again. Now this one is more, I think, deniable. I think these guys maybe just be racing hard and it's happening, but you're right. I mean, it is very possible as well that there are messages being sent here up and down this field. Wow, it's just, again, watch this here.
That was after the contact, too, right across his nose.
That's Wellman on the inside. That's Martin on the outside. There's poor Connor Gibson. Just sort of an innocent bystander right in the middle. So we're here at back live, 30 to go. And Hopp now trying to get here around Sikorsky. And Hopp may be in a bad spot. There's Sikorsky way at the bottom. Bumgarner's way up top. That's what I want to see. Get these two guys apart.
Sikorsky trying to keep Bumgarner at bay. No dramas this time. The 94 will get... I think they might have finally settled their differences.
I think maybe the worn-out equipment has settled their differences. I think maybe the lack of tires here, the lack of grip, has maybe helped settle their differences for the moment. Maybe. But we'll see. Here's Bumgarner now trying to get back up to Sikorsky, trying to... maybe thought 3 wide, but just couldn't get there. But Jaden Hopp is now holding up Sikorsky a little bit. And this is still a little closer than it should be.
Side by side down the front straightaway. Ty Marasco's run down Derek Paulson, by the way, for the race lead. If that gets side by side, we'll cut up to that. But right now, this is the fight to watch. Crossover after crossover, slide job after slide job in the battle for 7th place. Hopp slides across the nose of Sikorsky in the 94, immediately back to the bottom. And now Bumgarner, he's just laying back and letting them duke it out and burn up whatever equipment they had left.
He might be out of equipment. I sort of get that impression that Bumgarner is just like, okay, I can't make the moves I once could on these tires. So he's just kind of riding along to see what happens. Here's the battle for the lead, though. This is Marasco. Remember, he has been running this down. At one point, it was over 2 seconds back, and now he's run down Derek Paulson, and there he goes around the bottom. He's going to try to get up top here and clear this driver with 27 to go. Again, Ty Marasco leads this race.
Pit window is well and truly open. The only question now is, well, it's one that we've all got on our minds. When do you make that fuel-only stop? We know you have to. You can't save that much fuel this late in the game. Lakey and Sean Williams are still in the battle. They're going to go side by side for 12. Williams makes an easy pass into turn 1.
Here's the crazy questions in my mind. We know this track eats up tires, and we know there's some drivers in the back, you know, maybe a Bob Berry, a David Lakey, who are in the back of the playoff field who need to take a swing. You need to try something here. Do you come in now with 26 to go, pardon me. Put your gas in and put tires on it. See if those new tires can run down this field under green. We have seen the power of new tires all night. We saw Ty Marasco and others power around Jaden Hopp. We've seen multiple instances of the new tires. If I needed to take a swing at this to get it right, I wonder if I could be talked into maybe coming down now, getting my gas, being good to go, and having new tires. Because if you pit with 5 to go, 10 to go when you run out of gas, there's no way you justify tires. And here comes someone. That's the 83. That's Jason Greenwell. He, I believe, I mean, he's pitting right now, but that's our first early pit stop.
He's not the only one. Larry Bell, Michael Ashmore, both coming in as well. So big decisions to come down the pit road right on cue, like you mentioned. Honestly, the problem that the leaders have is not just, obviously fresh tires is huge. But the big problem they're also trying to battle right now is they don't want to have to burn up those fresh tires cutting through lap traffic. They want to be able to just go. So the other question they have to ask themselves, if I pit now, do I come out in clean air? That is so crucial, especially for drivers that are doing the chasing. Connor Gibson, I think, a bit tired of all the drama that he's been around tonight. He is in a pit road to try to get away from it.
The other thing to think about here, if you time it correctly, is could you get down pit road and put yourself in a spot? You may come off the pit road a lap down, but could you quickly put yourself back in the lead lap? Then if a caution does come out in the next 24 laps, you just kind of cycle around when everyone else pits and you find yourself in the lead. There's plenty of ways to do this correctly. But yeah, green flag pit stops have a risk right now. If they happen and you get caught a lap down, then it just feels like you're stuck.
Derek Paulson, the race leader, first of the front runners to blink. He is into pit road. We'll see what his call is going to be on this stop here with 23 laps on the docket. I'd imagine 4 tires in fuel again. Lakey and Williams still side by side. Lakey pulls the spot. That puts him up to now 9th place after they get around some of these cars that have pitted. It should still be around 12th and 13th thereabouts once everything cycles through. 4 tires going on for the MFRD number 6.
Yeah, Derek Paulson down pit road, and so he is currently the first car to have the pit stop here with 23 to go. Here comes Ty Marasco. Is that on pit road? This one I'm surprised by. This one I have to admit to you that I made the strategy call, and I said, hey, if I was in the back and I had to take a swing at it, I would do it. Convincing me to give up the lead? I don't know. You'd have to be a heck of a motivational speaker to talk me out of the lead of a race with 23 to go.
I think it's a case of Marasco saw how far out in front Paulson got. He doesn't want that gap to come back to him, right? He wants to make sure he keeps that gap as low as possible, even if it means sacrificing a little bit of a tire advantage. Because that tire advantage, if you pit later, that is only beneficial if you know you can run it down late in the game. That's not a guarantee here.
No, it's not, but especially it's not a guarantee if you pit with that 5-10 to go. Here comes Jaden Hopp, here comes Sikorsky, here comes Craig Martin. So everyone's going to do this. I would be surprised. I would think here comes David Lakey, pardon me. I get the feeling maybe that Dustin Ping and Brian Dees, maybe Dalton Kilrow, want to kind of be the exception, not the rule. They may go up for the alternate strategy. Hey, you know what? Let's just see what happens here. Let's see if we can make it happen on the other way and see if I can hold on to my lead. Can they? I don't know. There's Dustin Ping there. And look at that. That's the effect of new tires. Look at that 83 just blow right on by. That 83 just looks like he was sitting still. Like a tricycle versus a motorcycle right there.
Sam Baumgarten, another heavy hitter, comes down the pit road this time by, while Dustin Ping continues to stay out in front, trying to get some laps logged here at the head of this field. I think this field should be a bit concerned about late race yellows. This is kind of how the last 2 races here have gone. There's a few cautions early on. We're able to get a very long green flag run. Then there's a late race yellow. That bunches everyone up, and before you know it, we're right back at it again. It happened last year. Sent the race into overtime with the late race caution string. And with the aggression that we've seen tonight, it's not out of the question it's going to happen here too.
Not out of the question, but as these cars continue to spread out, it sort of feels like it's less and less likely. There went Dustin Ping, I believe, down pit road. I thought I saw that. Yep, you see pitting there on his name up on the ticker board on the left. So now just 3 cars left. Dees, Kilroe, and Sean Williams. And all 3 of them are playoff drivers.
Ping is into pit road. Baumgarten, Sikorsky, Martin. All side by side at the same points on the racetrack. 3 drivers that have had their share of run-ins this afternoon. Craig Martin turning on the afterburners. He is trying to run down the 94. Kyle Wellman, a driver that I don't believe has come down to pit road yet, is right in front. And no, Wellman still has yet to stop. That's why they ran him down so quickly.
And by the way, I can say now that Dalton Kilroe has taken the lead here, as now Brian Dees is pitted, if this works out for Kilroe, if he sticks this out, and if this works, wouldn't that be a heck of a story? This is a driver that really just hasn't had the best night, caught some damage early, has been in the back of the field, and if he gets this strategy call right and he somehow wins this race, that would just be like an amazing call, an amazing run here. But now I think he is also going to bring it down pit road with 18 to go, pardon me. And that pretty much rounds out most of the field. I think Sean Williams needs to come down, Michael Keithley needs to come down, Scott Schubert needs to come down, and that's the last 3.
Scott Shire out there on the racetrack. He's going to let Paulson through, and Shire in that number 4 entry. I mean, he's had a pretty good season as far as seasons go. I know his season wasn't really too much to talk about, but he's had some good runs this season. He could be a Final 4 driver.
Yeah, very well could be. And we see a lot of him in the races. Maybe not always because he's, winning or leading, but he's always involved in the front of the picture. You always see that 4 car, that black and green machine involved in these races. And that's what you want, is consistency as a driver. If you ask me, could I have consistent, top 10 runs all season? Or could I be up and down and maybe win a couple? I'd always take consistency. I think that wins championship. But here comes Ty Marasco back around here in just a moment. This is Ty now is going to get back here and pass. That's the battle for P2, with Derek Paulson being your leader, about 1 and almost 2 seconds ahead.
Scott Shire has not yet come down to pit road for the final time. He could lose a lap now that Marasco and Paulson are both around him. And there's Dustin Ping along with Brian Dees. They're both fighting their way off of turn number 4. Connor Gibson has managed to pull himself clear with that earlier undercut. He is now all the way up to 6th. He's about to be embroiled in some fighting, but at least this time he's in more familiar company.
And happier company, right? Company that doesn't appear to be wanting to kill each other. So good for Connor Gibson to be up here involved in that. Well, here comes Shire, by the way. Shire has just called out he will pit this time, so he will not be trying to run it any further with 16 to go.
Driver the number 4 car hitting pit road this time by, and he is the last car aside from Kyle Wellman that has to come down to pit road. I think for Wellman at this point, he's trying to do what Dustin Ping did to get his championship last season. He is trying to stretch this out as long as physically possible. Couldn't do it anymore, though. He's in a pit road as well.
Yep, so that's just going to pretty much round out most of the field here on for pitting. You see Kilroe now to the bottom of the track. He's got newer tires, so he can make with that. My concern for these guys pitting with 15 to go is what you hinted at earlier. If I'm pitting right now, I don't know that I could justify putting tires in the car. I don't know that I have enough time to make those tires work. I might just go fuel only and see if I could cut that stop short and make up time that way.
I almost feel like you don't really have much of a choice at this point, though, because, I mean, for the 2 guys that have pitted now, and by the way, they have both decided to take tires, I don't agree with the take it field only, because you're only going to hurt yourself. Everyone else behind you, there aren't fresh tires. They're going to run you down no matter what. You may as well try to get some kind of a tire advantage and then try to fight back.
But at 14 laps to go, do you have enough time to take advantage of those tires, right? Do you have the time to even do that? That's what I said earlier. That's why I would have pit in lap 25 like some of the others did, because then you can justify the time you're spending on pit road with those new tires versus what you're going to get out of it. Now if you're pitting with 15 to go, 10 to go, you say, hey man, I'll take a 6, 7, 8 second stop, but just enough gas in, and hoping that by me undercutting your pit stop that maybe somehow I survive. I may not, but I don't think I have enough time with 13 to go to get down there and get my full stop in and benefit from it. I don't know. So right now, look at this. This is Jaden Hopp. He's the only driver to have taken 2 tires that we can confirm on lap 103. So this Arizona native won last week at Kansas, wants to see if he can win here again, but that's a big hurdle up ahead. That's 5 seconds. He's got Ty Marasco ahead of him, and then Derek Paulson in that 6 before he can call himself a winner.
And considering he was 4 seconds back and he's on 2 tires, they're on 4, I don't think he's going to get that. But
That's
hey,
going to be a hard battle.
back-to-back podiums still ain't bad. That's a good showing considering he started outside of the podium positions.
And listen, when you're a newer driver and you want to prove yourself that you belong and that people can trust you, that's a good way to do it. 2 out of your first 3 races can be that kind of battle. My memory of the other race he did, the first race, he don't think he finished well, but he definitely had a good run most of the day. So, yeah, all right. Well, here's Connor Gibson on the inside. That's Craig Martin on the outside. And again, back there, I think they finally calmed it down. But again, this is humorous and an awful way to think. There's Sikorsky and Bumgarten right behind him again. Those 2 guys, they can't separate.
You got your battles and you're going to stick with them throughout the whole race. That's how all of these non-super speedway races pan out, right? Once you have your little battle pack, that's what you're stuck with. And you got to really get used to how they drive or you're going to be in a world of hurt. Justin Ping and Brian Dees, they've been in the same way. These 2 drivers have been in lockstep the last 40 laps or so. They have not been able to get away from each other, even through the pit stops.
Yeah, even though the pit stops are still right here locked together. Ping, by the way, is currently the fastest lap of the race. At one point turned to 40.350. That is about a second and a half faster than what we're turning currently. So on newer tires, maybe better track conditions, Dustin Ping did set the fastest lap of the night.
10 laps to go, this time by Ty Marasco can smell victory. Derek Paulson up in front, and for Marasco, what a day it would be for him. He is, to this day, still winless in the High Tide Racing League. He has come oh so close to trying to go for the top spot. Sorry, he does have 1 race win on his career, and was all the way back in Bristol, though, way back in season number 1. So we're talking about a year and a third he's gone winless.
Remember, it's not that long ago this season where we thought he had it wrapped up, right? We thought he had it wrapped up, and he ran it out of gas. And then calamity ensued. He was probably within, what, a football field, maybe 2 football fields of a victory.
Not even. It was unbelievably close, and now he can taste his 2nd race win. Yes, to the inside of Derek Paulson. He got caught a little off guard by the undercut on 2 pit stints ago. This time he was right on it, and now he is fighting for the lead with 8 laps to go.
Now, Nolan, don't call it a comeback, but look at that ticker board on the left. Look at that time decreasing. Every time these guys race side by side, neither one of them's running an optimal lane. They're both lifting a little bit. They're not getting the run they want, and they're letting Jaden Hopp back in. Jaden Hopp is now down to 3.5 seconds. Remember, you and I said he was 5 seconds back. He's already a second and a half gained on those cars. That green car in the middle, that is a lapped car. That is not a battle, but it could be, relevant if something happens. But right now, Marasco needs to make this pass and make it swiftly if he's going to do it, because the more they battle side by side, he's going to have a new contender and Jaden Hopp ready in this battle.
Derek Paulson as well. He is a driver that I don't believe has ever gotten a win in his High Tide Racing League career. So he is definitely going to be one of those folks that is desperate to try and go for something this afternoon. He also wants to try and pick up his first High Tide Racing League win. He has gotten a few starts. He only ran part-time in season number 1. He's only run part-time in season number 3. He ran part-time in season number 2 as well. His closest chance to victory was a 2nd place finish at the Chicagoland Speedway earlier this year. Scott Shire now trying to unlap himself, and sorry, he is going a lap down.
Well, he's certainly moving forward. He's trying to unlap himself, but
I was right.
Yeah, you're right, but he is kind of, I don't want to say in the way, but he could end up being in the way here, depending upon how he goes. There was Bob Berry, by the way, off of pit road. He must have miscalculated the gas on that car with 6 to go, but here comes Shire now to the bottom. He's going to try to get around Paulson easily and not be involved in this here. And there's Jaden Hopp in the back of that picture. Got it now down to less than 3 seconds. Shire is going to hold up Paulson in this corner a little bit. He's going to make Paulson go high. And now Shire's on by. Here's Marasco battling again. Marasco's going to try to swing it high, but Paulson does the same thing.
So one driver trying to go after their first career win. The other trying to take his first win in over 15 months of racing action with the High Tide Racing League. And Marasco now trying different lines. He swings up high. Paulson cuts down low. Look at how quick the Marasco wheels in. Almost into the outside wall of a turn number 2. Running them down the back straightaway.
There comes maybe one of the last shots that Marasco's going to get here. He's going to try to ride the bottom lane here. They're going to have a bunch of gap between them. They'll start to come back together. Contact close, but not happening. But they're battling hard off of these corners. And again, I have to point it out, now 2.5 seconds for Jaden Hopp. Jaden Hopp, that young man must be grinning ear to ear like the Grinch who stole Christmas, because he feels like he's the driver who could steal this race.
0.3 of a second a lap quicker here is averaging. While that's a lot, I don't think that's going to be enough. You would need these guys to really come to blows in order for that to be a thing. But right now, 2.5 seconds, that still is not a bad comeback at all, like you say. 3 laps to go, coming around this time by. Paulson still out in front. Ty Marasco trying to get something working with him. Does Derek Paulson have what it takes to fend off a playoff driver?
Boy, Marasco's trying hard, so a little bit of wiggle out of 4 there, and that car kind of moved around, and then he caught it. Right now, if you're Ty Marasco, you got to think to yourself, he's got to stay calm here. You're a playoff driver who came in here last in points. A couple playoff drivers are out of the race. One didn't show up. You want to win, and I get that. Every driver wants to win. But I think this is going to be the moment.
Well, we thought that the last time, and Derek Paulson was able to get the drive going into turn number 3. Marasco to the inside, sends it in. He's already washing up. But here comes Paulson with the crossover. Back to the bottom. Can't get them. Marasco shuts the door.
Close was contact. That's so close. I thought for sure they were going to make contact. I was convinced. Here they come now. 2 to go. And we'll see now. I said this earlier, and I thought Marasco only had 1 shot at this to get that pass done. I'm pretty sure now Paulson gets 1 pass. He gets 1 chance to make it pass. Will it be on 3 or 4 here? Or whether he wants to wait for the white flag. But if he misses his 1 shot and his 1 opportunity to seize everything he never wanted, he will not get a second shot.
2 laps are left in this one. Derek Paulson trying to stand this one deep into turn numbers 3 and 4. He's going to have 1 more lap to make something happen as we work off at turn number 4. But Marasco started to pull away. Marasco can smell his 2nd race win. Final lap at the Auto Club Speedway.
There we are. All bets are off. Cautions are off. No yellow flag. We'll end this race. We will go back around no matter what happens. Right now, Paulson's trying to stay in that draft, trying to follow that line, build some momentum. He'll get 1 final shot. He'll get the run here off of the back straight. He's going to follow in behind, and he's going to try to dig it in here to the corner, maybe deep, low. Let's find out here.
Derek Paulson
low.
Looking low. Marasco saw it coming, trying to shut the door off of turn 4. Paulson won't get there. Ty Marasco, after a long and brutal slugfest, he finally takes his 2nd win of his High Tide Racing League career, and thus breaks the drought.
Look at that. Went from I'm going to start and park to won the race.
Connor Gibson will secure a solid top 10. Other playoff drivers in the top 10. Dees, Kilrow, Ping, great starts for them. Drivers that are going to be in critical positions now. Barry, Michael Thorpe Jr., Scott Shire, potentially David Lakey and Sean Williams. But Shire, Barry, and Thorpe for sure having nights to forget. They are going to need something at the Glen to get them back into contention.
Yeah, that'll be the story next week, seeing what playoff drivers can do well. But now, for speaking of the current and the present, doing well is that number 1 car. Ty Marasco comes in here and said he felt good all night long, just kind of put himself in great spots, and ultimately in the best spots. Car number 1 finishes number 1.
Finally able to come home this afternoon, and I mean, this has been a long time coming. Again, his last race win that he had was way back in season number 1 of the Bristol Motor Speedway, and only took that win by the skin of his teeth as well. This has got to feel good this afternoon that he finally comes home with a solid drive.
Yeah, it is, right? Getting that iconic picture that race car drivers love. You get to park up there right under the Barney the Flagman, burn it up, and celebrate that victory. Great job by Ty Marasco.
An absolutely phenomenal drive, and well, with that, we are going to be able to get the chance to take a rundown of your official post-race results this afternoon. It was an extremely hard-fought battle, but it is Ty Marasco finally able to take home the win in race number 16 this afternoon. Derek Paulson will pick up the number 2 spot. Jaden Hopp will finish in 3rd, back-to-back podiums for the rookie. Brian Dees was in 4th, Dalton Kilrow in 5th, Dustin Ping in 6th. Then it's Greenwell, Baumgarten, Sikorsky, Gibson, rounding out the top 10.
Now move on back here, starting with P11. And that will be Craig Martin with Sean Williams in P12, David Lakey in P13, Michael Keithley finishes P14, and then 15th and 16th is Larry Bell and Scott Shire. Those are the last cars on the lead lap. Kyle Woman in 17th, 1 lap down, as well as Michael Ashmore. And then Bob Berry, 13 laps down. And then rough nights for Curtis Yancey, Tanner Moore, and Michael Thorpe, each more than 100 laps down, rounding out a 22-car field.
What a wild ride that we had this afternoon. And we had a long, good race. It got a little bit messy around the middle there. Quite a few cautions cropped up, but overall, lowest caution count this field has had at this racetrack. And I would say definitely one of the best races they've had here as well. We'll get the chance now to chit-chat here with the driver that comes home number 1 this afternoon. It is going to be Ty Marasco making a solid drive. And well, after declaring to both of us that he was going to be starting and parking this afternoon, he ends up taking the walk-off win this afternoon. And, well, Ty, about 16 months ago to the day, you took your first race win at Bristol Motor Speedway here. Gotta feel good that you're able to finally come back and take number 2.
Yeah, it feels really good. Obviously was in the starting park attitude, and definitely maybe I might be in that attitude more often. Yeah, definitely good racing, and needed it to go green. Definitely felt better than Derek there at the end. He cut me a little bit of break. I have to say thank you to that. He cut me a little break off 4, but at least I think he did. I squeezed him, but I had to do that just to keep him behind me. So we'll take the win. I'm definitely excited, but like I said, I was starting park because it was Ohio State game, and now it's getting a little nerve-wracking. So we're excited though, definitely, because I mean that puts us in a good spot to advance for the next round.
It was a bit of a tight run for you getting into the playoffs in the first place. A bit of a less than optimal drive, to put it mildly, at the Kansas Speedway. Saw you you only got in on countback, let's be honest here. It was a close drive. You were almost on the back foot entering the playoffs and almost on the outside looking in. Now you're the first driver to take a win. This should easily rocket you at least into the top 6, if not into the top 3. Do you reckon this could be the start of a potential championship bid now?
Oh, most certainly. I mean, I think we ran strong at the end of that to get in. I mean, we missed 2 races, so had to make up a bunch of points and had to have good runs. And honestly, we got in with some, with some help from others having issues as well last week. But I think we rattled off like 6 top 10s in a row, and that put me in a position last week to get myself in. And then with this win, it's just going to carry momentum, hopefully, on to the next few rounds or the next few races, and hopefully advance into the next round. And then, from then, it's kind of, is what it is. But we'll see when we get to the next round. It's just that much harder.
Well, Watkins Glen is the next one up. It's the final road course race of the season from upstate New York. What do you think about the Glen?
I run pretty good at the Glen, so I'm gonna say I run pretty good at the Glen, but compared to other road courses, I run well. So hopefully we have a good run there and keep our nose clean, because that's just that's most important. You can get off track, hit some walls or hit some cars, and you don't want to be doing that. So we look forward to it. So hopefully we can go out and maybe continue this streak that we're on right now. So that's about it for what I'm thinking about Watkins Glen.
Well, best of luck to you, Ty. Best of luck to Ohio State, and we will see you once again next week.
Yes, thank you. Go Buckeyes.
Ty Marasco comes home this afternoon, and we'll move it on down to Derek Paul. So the number 2 driver standing by with Derek Watson.
I can speak to the guy who spells his name wrong. Well, the short way, if you will, Derek Paulson. Derek, great run tonight. And at the end, you had a great battle with Ty Marasco. Were you just out of equipment or just kind of burnt the tires off, or what happened to you?
Yeah, a little bit out of the equipment. He could drive 1 and 2 so much better. I actually have been haven't really full-time raced since about May of last year. And I had equipment trouble trying to get in here because I'm like, ooh, I'm going to try to get in there because I got a new VR headset. And I'm like, oh, let's do some testing. Well, I got in here at the very last minute, didn't get any practice, didn't qualify. And yeah, so to come away with even being up there leading laps, I was very happy, very surprised. And yeah, he was so good in 1 and 2. I didn't have nothing for him there. And I'm not racing for nothing. I just, just a part-time racer in this league. And I raced with Ty, and I told him, I said, I ain't going to wreck you for the win because you're racing for a championship. So let's just have a good battle, and if you get me, so be it. And now we did. I couldn't believe I held him off that long, and it was a good race.
So I have to ask, if we see you back next weekend to Glenn, what are the odds we get you a sponsor for next week? Can we get this man a sponsor, anyone, like anything?
Well, what's crazy is apparently my trading paints and grabbed my paint. Like I said, it's been a while since I've raced, so I threw a paint on there, and I'm like, I get in the car and I'm like, why is my car white?
You're white. That's what it is. You're right. So,
and I don't think you could even see my number or anything. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, you are an unsponsored testing car, is what you are tonight, buddy.
We can see the Green Flag TV contingency sticker on the side, so that's something.
I did throw. I ran on Discord and grabbed that and downloaded it and added that too. So, yeah, so it was kind of a rush to get in there, but had a great time. Couple of cautions there, but overall it was a great race.
All right, well, great job tonight. Happy to see you back, and hopefully we'll see you next week at the Glen.
Yeah, thank you guys.
You're very welcome. That is Derek Paulson, driver of that number 6 machine, finishing in P2. And let's go ahead and grab also the driver who finished P3 tonight. He's done 3 races in this league, 2 of them on the podium. Jaden Hopp, you're quickly becoming a force to reckon with.
I should hope so.
So how was the racing out there tonight? At some points it looked kind of trippy. There was some elbows out tonight. There was maybe some anger from some drivers. But from your perspective, what was this race like?
It was definitely fun racing with everybody. We were all packed together. Definitely a lot of doing I saw. That was fun. Kind of wish we had a little more sets of tires, but I mean, what can I really do?
Yeah, what can you do indeed? Well, all you could have done was got second or first, and you led some laps tonight. Now, we saw you kind of, clutching and coasting at one point. Were you hoping this was going to become a fuel mileage race? In retrospect, was that maybe not the right call?
In hindsight, clutching into the corners was, it wasn't really, I wouldn't say it was a bad call, but I wouldn't say it was a good call either, because I was running about the same pace with the clutching and with everyone. But I was doing the clutching because I usually get the fuel number before these races just to see what was going to happen and whatnot. But with the clutching, if we stayed green for the whole race, I would have made the distance. So that was kind of the plan from there. And then once the yellows came out, just kind of working from then on.
Well, listen, great job tonight. And next week is the Glen. So the question is Jaden Hopp a good road course racer?
I'm a good road course racer, but it kind of depends entirely on if Aaron shows up. He's just a little bit better than me, but I think maybe we can give him a run for his money if he shows up.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to it. Congrats on the P3 tonight, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to it.
All right, that is Jaden Hopp finishing P3 tonight, and that does round out our podium interviews, Nolan. What a great night of racing. High drama, high action, high tension, high tempers, all a part of the High Tide Racing League.
An absolutely fantastic night, and what a way to kick off the round of 16. I was a bit curious to see how this race was going to pan out with, of course, this race being the first trip out here into the round of 16. But I mean, these guys have been putting on a solid show this afternoon, and I got a good feeling, right? I think we're going to be in it with a huge shot to take the W this afternoon. We've got ourselves with a long playoff bid up the road, and overall, there is still a lot to be excited about and a lot yet to be decided.
Yeah, so next week we're at the Glen. We'll do some more racing afterwards, but we're not that far from crowning our season champion.
No, sir, we are not. There is a lot to be excited about coming on up over the next little while when we go racing once again. It is going to be in upstate New York for the High Tide Racing League MF Racing Designs Cup Series. And, of course, before we get to all of that, we've still got more racing action on the way for you here on Green Flag TV. You got, of course, the MFRD Cup Series with Phoenix Raceway. They are out for round number 3 this coming Tuesday night. And then, of course, the Beer League out to the Snetterton 200 circuit on Wednesday night. And then, Derek, you and I are back at the booth for the PRA Rev Limit Workshop Pro Series for round number 2 at the Michigan International Speedway. As well as that, the SRA IAL Truck Series will swing out to Las Vegas, Nevada for the Nevada 150 for round number 3 on Saturday night. For now, if you want to find out more about who we are, what we can offer you, check us out today on www.greenflagtv.com. My name is Will Rempel, alongside Derek Watson. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here this afternoon. Boy, oh boy, what an absolutely fantastic drive that we saw throughout the course of round number 1 of the round of 12. Long way to go. We'll see you in Thunder Valley.